Hello, it's Phillip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers. I'm looking at one of the books from the Legal Action Group. They are well known as a group who deal and specialise predominantly in areas such as housing and issues concerning things like possession and so forth. This particular book is a very important one. It's just come out in its 4th edition. It's called Housing Law Casebook. And you probably may remember that the previous edition, if you've seen this before, was a blue colour. This is the red 4th edition. It's written by Madge and Sefton. Nick Madge is a judge, he's a circuit judge, and obviously a highly experienced person. And clearly he and his colleague have tried very hard with this particular book to make sure that everything is actually covered in one volume, and Claire Sefton in particular has worked very long and hard at the case law concerned, obviously to produce something which can be used by everybody within the legal world. I've given it the title on the internet, and it's appeared in a number of journals, as Easing the Pain of Hard Law Housing Law, because what we've got here are a very large number of cases looking at all the substantial difficulties concerning all aspects of housing. It's the ultimate comprehensive statement, in my view, on what is happening with housing law precedent today. And so both Madge and Stevens and Sefton acknowledge that housing law is hard law, but their work is an exceptionally easy read to sort of counterbalance it, with nicely navigable themes, which I think eases the pain a bit. There's a CD-ROM as well, which is very helpful. It's at least an affordable housing law casebook, dealing with real property, real issues, real confrontations of the most personal kind, and real housing details, and they do it with excellent one-line summaries which have now been introduced at the beginning of each authority, and of course that eases the understanding of what's going on considerably. This is what I would describe as the common law book of housing, which is well structured in its 21 lettered chapters. Notice they've got letters, plus the very detailed index at the back and an exceptional CD-ROM if that's the sort of thing you're looking for. The individual cases are intelligently and very carefully selected and set out, and they are useful summaries and further referencing throughout the book. It's quite a heavy book. I haven't actually got the book here, it's over there, but it's quite a heavy book to lift up. There are one or two companions to go with it. What the authors have done is they rely on a team of helpers to get the information to us as the end users, and it doesn't matter whether we're lawyers or advisors, it's all in the round, as it were, to cover this aspect of what we do. So what they do is they pull together the details very concisely and with much thought as to what we need as users in the actual system. And the matter-of-fact explanations I find helpful because they give essential case facts, which of course remains the key value to all aspects of what the housing practitioner does. And so the information is easy to find even for inexperienced people, and that's one of the reasons why it blends across the practice spectrum. At the 4th edition launch, which I attended, it was rightly said that if you deal with housing matters and you don't have a copy of this book, it will seriously damage your health, and I think they're right. The authors cover wide ground with the decisions in all the courts, and they rely on case details to be sent in for inclusion, especially where the decisions are borderline ones and therefore terribly important for the advocate, because it's that, to use an expression, hair splitting that can make or break your case. Obviously it's a hard task, but I think they bridge the gap between the practical guide and the detailed housing authority in such a way to make it as a housing law statement easier and more accessible for all. And I imagine judges would find this quite easy, rather than looking at the very heavy tomes that they have to look at, obviously, in the courts and in their private rooms. The authors have said in that their aim, the beginning of the book, is note all the cases that housing practitioners will ever need. And that's actually what their aim is. They've noted them. They do it, and that's why the book, in my view, is heavy. It's over 1,000 pages long, but it's got everything. It's got everything in one place too, which I think is important, rather than fiddling around with all the loose leaf stuff. And as advisors, there are useful examples here of ways in which the law is actually interpreted and how disputes are resolved in practice. And the compact disc, of course, is a great help too. And I would imagine that the use that it can be put to could be expanded in future editions, as we sort of see housing remaining one of the most essential issues for all of us. Our common law, of course, is all about decisions made by judges, and that is now heavily influenced by and directed, of course, by those people in Parliament who legislate as well. So for all of us, whether we like it or not, the end result has still got to be fair and just. And I think what Madge and Sefton have done here is they've maintained the great common law tradition of judge-made law with all that sort of casebook statements that they actually have included, plus the interpretations, giving an incisive approach to case law detail, which sets itself at the very top of the housing law book ladder for all of us to see and use. I certainly won't be without it. As I say, there are other books to go with this which I shall review, but this remains the main case book, and as I say, it's very user friendly. Thank you very much, LAG, and do get hold of it, a copy of it. Bye bye.